It's school supplies shopping season. But are you getting tired of these plain old boring #2 pencils? Today we are going to spice these bad boys up and make them look a little bit more like the person who's using them. So that way these come from boring to beautiful. Before we dive in, I want to say, hey, I'm Christy here at Crafty Christy's Creations, and I'm here to help you master your silhouette. And today, we're doing a little print and cut project. So let's dive into Silhouette Studio and get started. Here I am on a blank sheet. I know that looks really intimidating, but we're going to fill this in with a couple of different things. The first thing that we're going to do is just set up a print and cut. On the version 5 of Silhouette Studio, you have this lovely quick button for print and cut. And actually, before I do that, we need to change our page size. My printer prints letter size, so my media size here, I'm going to change to letter, which is 8.5 by 11. Now I can come down here over to the grid setup. I like to do my print border and then my cut border for print and cuts. Now I can come to that print and cut easy button. We're going to enable our registration marks. And then I like to take that inset down. And now we're set up for basic print and cut project. So we are going to wrap these pencils in something pretty. So what we need to do next is measure the length of our pencil and the width all the way around. So supplies that we've got here, we've got our pencils. I've got some clear permanent vinyl. I've got photo paper, and then I've got double-sided sticky sheets. This would be a much better, easier project if you had some waterproof printable sticker paper or waterproof printable vinyl. This would be a lot easier, but I did not have any on hand, so I thought I'll just use what I have, and what I have is photo paper. So let's go ahead and just pull out a pencil. To measure, I'm going to use, you can use either just a measuring tape, or you can take a piece of scrap paper, which we may find that that'll be easier. But I'm going to start here on one of the lines, one of the ridges on the pencil, and I'm just going to wrap this all the way around until I get back to that ridge. So I know how far this has gone. And so I'm right about an inch. If you don't like that method, we can come in here. I've got a little scrap length of paper. And then here's my practice pen that I did this with. Pretty cool, huh? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this. I'm going to start on an edge, because I have a straight edge that I can wrap around, and then I can just completely wrap this around, because you don't want to have to make any adjustments at the end. You want to do all the adjusting and sizing right now, because it'll be much easier to do it now than when you've got lots of product. I'm just lining that up, and then when I know that we're at the right line, I can just come in with my pen and mark that. I'm going to flatten this out, and then now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to start at this edge, and it is exactly 1 inch. And then we're also going to measure from the tip all the way to the metal here. And the length looks like, let me set this down here so I can see better. We're almost 6.5 I'm sorry, 6 3/4. So we're gonna go 6.75 long and 1 inch wide. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go back to Silhouette Studio. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna come in here with my rectangle tool and I'm gonna draw out a rectangle, and up here I can unlock the ratio aspect. The width is gonna be 1 inch and the height, we did 6.75. There is my rectangle. Now, you need, I believe it's Designer's Edition. We can go ahead, I'm gonna make a copy. Actually, let's replicate this. Let's see if we can't do, that's 4, 5. I think I can do 6. This comes in a pack of 10. Can I get 10 on here? Let's see. I bet we can. I'm gonna turn these. I'm gonna hold down the shift key so I get a perfect 90-degree turn. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll see if we can get them all to fit. I don't want to be on that inset. So the other thing, let me see here. If I turn down the length, that will bring those insets down as well. You know, I like to leave that at least 0.335. Let's make that a little, let's do 0.42. I think that's safe. So let me sneak this one up here as far as we can. Well, look at that. We're actually inside those arrows. I love that. I'm not going to worry so much about getting all of these spaced correctly. I do like putting a little space between them instead of having them completely right up next to each other. Let me scoot these up. I might not be able to fit this many in here, but I'm just going to select all of them. We got that bottom one where we want it, and then I'm going to come over to, where's my align? My transform panel, and I'm going to align them all, distribute them spaced vertically. And looks like some of them might still be overlapping. We're going to have to zoom in some more here. Yeah, it looks like they're all overlapping. So this guy can actually come down here further. So I'm just going to manually try to put a tiny little gap in between them. I think we might actually be able to get them all on here. I like having a gap instead of cutting right next to each other, especially if we're going to do these different colors. That ever so slightly gap just makes all the difference. I don't think we're going to be able to fit them all. Okay, let's see. I'm going to zoom out. Then can we take all of these, and I'm going to use my arrow key, tap them over to the edge a little closer. That's not enough room over there either. Okay. Not all 10 are going to fit, so I'm just going to get rid of a couple here, and then let's see how that works. Shift, holding down the shift key, selecting each one of these, and then we are going to align vertically again. That gives them a good little spacing, and then I'm also going to center them so they're all centered in there, and then I'm just going to use that right arrow key. Let's get them. Come on. We're just going to scoot these guys over out of the hash marked areas. Okay. A couple of these we're going to pull in patterns, and then a few of these perhaps we'll just design what we want to design. So to pull in a pattern, I'm going to click on this top one here. And then I'm going to come over to the fill style. and then to patterns. I believe you have to have Designer's Edition to have these, to be able to use these, but let's see. I like this one right here. And because I had already had it selected, it just went ahead and filled it in. And then I can scale that up and down however I want. I think that looks good. This one, let's see if I have another pattern that I like. This one's fun. This is a free pattern that I made. I'm going to rotate that pattern 90 degrees so you can see the school buses on there. And I will leave a link in the description. It's been a minute since I gave away these school themed ones, but I will leave a link to where you can grab these if you're interested. And then I can also scale this pattern as well if I want to see more of it. You know, I think I kind of like it at that, where it was at 100%. It looks good. And then let's see what else I have. I think this was another one. Nope. Was it that one? Let's see. This is another one from that book. I believe this one was too. So I'm going to rotate that. And then let's do, this one was part of it as well. And then the rest of these we're going to design. So I'm going to start by just picking a fill color that I like. So I'm going to fill it with this lovely, actually I like that purple. And then I want it to be able to read. I'm going to put my name on here. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to do an oval. And I'm going to give that a white fill so you can read it. And then come in with my text tool, and I'm gonna write out my name. So you're gonna write out whosever name that this is going to. And then you know me, stuck on those love vibes. Okay, and I'm gonna fill it in with that same purple. I'm gonna get rid of those outline colors on there. And then we just need to shrink that really well. So I'm going to zoom in, Control, and then the plus key. I'll get rid of that. And then Shift and Alt will shrink towards the center. And then I'm going to grab my purple rectangle, my white oval, and my name. And then I'm going to come up here and hit this button here that says center, and that centers everything together. But I don't feel like my name is centered in there, so I'm just going to grab that and I'm going to bring that on down. Okay, that one looks good. So you might decide that that is enough and you want to do that and leave it like that, but maybe you want to make this look like a colored pencil. If we wanted to do that, I'm going to grab some rectangles and I'm just going to make some strips here, and I'm going to do those. I think they're black, I believe. Whoops. When you look at a pencil or at a color at a colored pencil, whereas a crayon, these will go the same distance here. And if I'm not mistaken, it's been a minute. I think there's 2. So I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key, click and drag a copy. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Alt or Option, click and drag a copy. And then I just want to make sure that these are the same distance. That looks pretty good. Okay, I like the way that looks. We can design some more different ones here. I do enjoy putting my name on there, so I'm just gonna alt click and drag that down here. And maybe this time you want to, let's pull that off to the side. We're gonna fill this with a pattern. I like this plaid one. And then you can scale that. Let's see. I think I like that one better. I know they probably look the same. And then I'm gonna do a white rectangle this time. I know you probably can't see that right now. Let's give that a white fill. And then I'm gonna select both of these and then I'm gonna center those. And then I can we need to bring that to the front. So you've got these quick buttons up here, bring to front. That'll put it on top. And then I want this to be a color that's in here. So I'm gonna come over and hit I on my keyboard for the eyedropper tool. And I want this one to be, I'm gonna do the yellow color. Oh, look at that, it picked the pattern. Okay, well that's kind of fun actually. So let's do that. Let's just fill this in with the pattern, but I'm gonna scale it up. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna just shrink this a little bit more so the white is not everywhere. I like that. That's really neat. And then we have two more here to play with. So maybe I want to do let's see. Let's fill this one in with so when I brought in, let me show you with this leopard print that I found. Where did I save it? Actually, I have this spring floral mug wrap that I found, and I will link this below if you're interested. This one's really pretty. We're gonna hit OK, and we open that, and it opened on a separate sheet. So I'm gonna copy it, Control C to copy, come back to the page we're on, Control V to paste. So now it's on this page, and I'm gonna select this box, and I'm going to select my pattern, and then we need to put our pattern over top of our box. I like that. And then I'm just going to rubber band select to grab both of those. You can kind of see that that box is selected. And then what I'm going to do is open my modify panel and hit crop. So it cropped that pattern into my shape. So if I double click, you can't edit it once you've done that. So if you don't like where it cropped it, you're going to go ahead and do Control plus Z to undo. And then you can move that pattern where you want it. Oh, both things are still selected. So let's put that back where it is. We're gonna just take this, put that where you want it. You may find if you send that to the back, then you can see better where your lines are at. And then maybe you want more of like the flowers on there. I think I like, that'll have some flowers and some pots. Okay, I like that. So now I'm going to grab this box. I know it's probably hard to see. So I've got that. Hold down the shift key and grab right on that line. Both of those are selected, and we'll try that again, and then we can hit crop. And then there's that one, crop to that. I really like that. I'm going to do another one. Control C to copy, and then Control V to paste. And then I'm going to send that to the back. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this bottom one here. I'm going to decide what part that I want to see. And I want more of the flowers. I think that right there has more flowers showing. I like that better. And then we'll just grab that outline and then this again, and we're going to hit crop. So you can do that with any digital pattern that you have. So now I have all of these ready to rock and roll. Don't those look super cute? So I just want to check here. We're going to come over to the send panel. We're going to come to standard. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to select everything here. And we're going to say use outline selection. That way we're going to make sure that it's going to cut the outline of all of these pieces. So we're good to go. All right, now I'm just going to come back to design, make sure that you're happy with where things are sitting. This top one, I'm going to do left arrow key just to get it a little more room there. Everything else looks good. So I'm printing this on photo paper. So let me come over to turn my printer on. We can look at our print here. Making sure this black outline here is my print, my print border. Making sure all of those lines are inside my print border. Looking good there. We can hit print. And then here I'm coming to my preferences. I'm going to do photo printing. I'm going to click off the borderless printing. And then I'm going to tell it that I am using 8.5 by 11 size paper, and I'm going to do high quality printing. And now that's ready to print. So I'm just going to print this and I'll be right back. We're all done printing. Look how beautiful that print looks. Oh, I'm so excited. But you're probably thinking, well, how is this going to stick? There's nothing sticky to put it on the pencil. Yeah, that's our next step. So let's do it. So actually we'll look here. So I've got, this is double-sided sticky sheets. And these are, I think they're a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 11. So let me see. You know what? The one thing I have not tested is to see if this shiny side will stick, and it will. Okay. Good. So both sides will stick on there on the electrostatic mat. This white side will not stick to your sticky mat. So if you're using a sticky mat, you are going to have to peel this the opposite direction. But know that this, if you were going to do it that way, then I would recommend just cutting this out by hand, because this yellow side is real papery. That the last time I put that on a sticky mat, it just shredded and it was a disaster. And I had to basically I spent a whole day cleaning my mat. So electrostatic mat or cut these out by hand is my recommendation. But what we're going to do on the back side of my photo sheet here, and the nice thing is you can kind of see through it because it's not quite as wide, but it's a little bit longer. So I'm just going to get in here, make sure I'm in. Whoops. I wasn't ready. Ooh, okay, managed. I'm just kind of looking at where those marks are and then just getting up in that corner here. And then just going to flatten that across, try to get the wrinkles out. And then all the way down. And boy, I cannot lay this down in a straight line. It's amazing, really. And then this is longer than what I need. So with that backing still on there, I am going to trim this off. So I can save this and make strips out of it, but it's definitely easier to cut it while it's on here and cut through both sheets than it is to try to do this not when you're trying to cut through the actual stickiness of it. So this is a lot easier. So now I can cut this off and I can save that and make strips for doing like acetate or whatever. So that we can save. This looks good. We're gonna cut this with all of that on there. And of course I have not tested this to see if we can cut through all of it, but I think we'll be able to. All right, so I'm just gonna load this on to my electrostatic mat, the pretty side facing up. It's stuck on there really well. And then we can just go ahead and load that on in. And then let's go back to Silhouette Studio. All right, let's come over to our send panel. And then we had already set it up to just cut the outline. So that's exactly what it's gonna do. And I do believe that this cardstock textured 80 pound, I'm gonna turn that blade depth up to 4, and I'm gonna turn that force up to 33, and I think that that should cut through everything. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and hit send. It's giving you a little reminder, everything looks good there. We're gonna hit send, and then it's reading those registration marks. When it's happy with those registration marks, it's gonna go ahead and start cutting. So the other thing that we're gonna do, because I have noticed, let me show you this. This was my little test one, and I just kind of cut it out by hand and cut it to a different measurement that wasn't right for this pen. But you'll notice the edges aren't really sticking down, and this photo paper, it has like a texture to it. So I don't really like that. So we're gonna wrap this in clear vinyl. And we're just gonna make the seams of the clear vinyl be somewhere slightly different than where this seam is. So maybe that'll help hold that on there. This is a little bit of an experiment. I'm gonna show you the technique for how to do this. And then you may decide to do that a printable sticker vinyl or just a printable vinyl is better the answer than doing it with the photo paper. But that's what we're gonna do next. So let's jump into Silhouette and then we'll set that one up as well. Oops, wrong button. Okay, so to set that one up, all we're gonna do is we're gonna use that same size that we just did, which I wrote it down somewhere. I'm just gonna start over here on a new page. And these are 12 by 12 sheets. I do not need my print border on there anymore. And then I'm just gonna draw these out again. So I'm just gonna do this unlocked ratio aspect. Our width is 1, and then our height was 6.75. And hit enter. Okay. And then we can go ahead and just, we're gonna cut 10 of these. Oh, next one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more. 10, okay. And then you saw me, I just love to space them out a little bit. And then this one I'm gonna put over here. I'm gonna grab all of these. I'm going to align them middle, and then let's space them this direction. So they all have a little space in them. That looks good right there. So that we're just gonna cut these shapes out of permanent clear vinyl. So our cut over here is done. Let's check it out. Okay, looks like, let's check our cut here before we remove anything. And, oh, it didn't quite cut all the way through. So I'm just gonna go ahead and send that through for a second pass, and that should take care of it. So all I have to do, you have this cool little redo button up here. I'm gonna hit that. And then it's gonna read those registration marks and do everything I just did and do it again. I do want it to do, I don't care if it does a kiss cut or if it does a, or if it cuts all the way through as a die cut. I don't really care. Either way is gonna work just fine. I just need it to cut through all the layers. So we're gonna let it do that. And then while that's working, I have a roll of clear, this is Oracal 651 clear vinyl. And then we can just peel this up. Now, because it's on a roll, it is not gonna do well on this mat. So at this point, I could either decide to put it through the roll feeder or I can put it on my sticky mat. And I think I'm just gonna set this up for my sticky mat. That's gonna be the easiest thing for me. To do that, let me look at our lengths here. I'm gonna scoot these up so we're just, let me show you. Scooting up here so we're just inside that 7-inch mark at the bottom there. So here's that 7-inch line. I've got those rulers on. So this is gonna be a tight squeeze on there. So we need to make sure we cut this well. So on this one here, just gonna get this lined up. Everybody kind of does this differently. If you wanna line this up first, get it stuck down and then cut your line, or however you wanna do it, that part is up to you. But I'm just gonna try to line this up on here and then cut it. That seems reasonable to me. Okay. And because I know how I cut, and it's never a straight line. Okay, so this here is my 7-inch line. I'm gonna start somewhere in between the 7 and the 8 and see if I can't manage a halfway straight line. So I'll just cut right here. Oh, and you know what? These ones actually have, yeah, they do. They have grid lines on the back. I forgot. So now that I cut that right there, let's go ahead and just cut down that line here. I know you probably can't see me do this, but I'm just gonna cut straight down that line. All right, let me get this cut and I'll be back. You don't need to watch me do this. Okay, I've got my straightish line. Let's get this stuck on here. It's been a minute since I've done anything with vinyl. Especially clear vinyl. I don't think I've done any projects with clear vinyl. This might be a first, but I thought this would be a really fun idea. Okay, so I'm well over that 7-inch line. Gave myself lots of wiggle room here. That seems like it's happy. Okay, let's check our cut. Here's my weeding tool here, and let's see if it cut through this time. Wow, it still did not. Let's see here. Did not cut all the way through that photo paper. Okay, so let me cut that again. This is what I get for not doing test cuts. This time we're going to, let's turn that blade depth up to 6. And then we're gonna just go ahead and send that again and let it cut again. So I'll be back when it's all done cutting. All right, fingers crossed that this did the trick here. So let's just check one. And it did. Looks like we're gonna get a kiss cut on that back page. So that looks good. We can go ahead and unload this. And then to cut this other piece, we don't need our electrostatic mat. You can go ahead and just disconnect it, which is the best thing to do. Set that aside. We're gonna bring in our sticky mat here. Got all of these lined up, so we're just cutting those clear pieces to go over it. No, we did not. So this page is done. Come back to design. Here is our page that we created. I'm gonna come over to send. I'm gonna do a standard cut here. This is vinyl. And then the Silhouette Oracal 651 setting. And then I'm gonna do a blade depth of 2. Everything else can stay the same. And then we can hit send. And then we'll let it cut that out. Okay, so while it's cutting that out, because these are a kiss cut, I don't want to peel a lot of them at once, but we can just kind of look at, these are going to fit so nice. These are going to be sideways, but the rest of these, you know, it's kind of up to you to decide how you want them to view, up and down or sideways. I thought the school buses would look good sideways because they'll go up and down the pencil instead of wrapping around. That is a personal preference of how you do those. So let's go ahead and just put one together. And I'm enjoying these plant ones, so I'm gonna do one of these first. I'm just gonna peel that up so there is stickiness on the back side here. And I'm just gonna pick an edge, and then that's gonna be your starting point. I recommend putting that kind of towards the back of the pencil. And then just try to get straight down, all the way down that edge. I'm giving that a good press. And then I can just roll that on over. The pencils have those ridges on it, so you will still see the ridges, but you can just kind of fold that over. The other thing you could do, like I have matte printable sticker paper, so I could certainly do this on that, and then if I wanted like a glossy finish to it, I could again put the vinyl like we're gonna do here. And then I'm just gonna keep one angle of this pencil at a time to make sure that everything stays nice and taut around those edges. And you can hear that photo paper's kind of like crinkling and making noises. That's okay. That's just it getting kind of stuck down on there with that double-sided adhesive. So I'm on this kind of one more ridge to go. And oh, that meets, it looks like it's actually slightly over. That's okay. So it looks like we might have just a slight little bump. So instead of doing 1 inch, it might have been like, would have done maybe like a 0.98. Can you see that? It's probably not easy to tell where that ridge is at. But this is done cutting. Let's check this because now I'm not feeling real confident in my cut settings. Did I do that as a kiss cut as well? Sure did. Okay, that's totally fine. We'll unload. And then I'm just going to go ahead and peel that one up. And then, so I'm going to start this on the ridge, on a different ridge, so that way we cover up that seam really well. But I'm going to do that same process going down the pencil, pressing that on nicely, and then come around that curve. This is just going to hold that seam together really well, because I told you that mine and my pen had kind of been coming apart. So I'm hoping this will help hold that seam together. Also, this, photo paper is kind of bulky. So if you had a different kind of paper to do this with, that would be good. But maybe you decide that you're just doing this, like maybe you just need like something pretty to look at in your office. Maybe these are just pretty pencils that you don't even use. You just decide to let them be decorative. Okay, so now I've got that on there, and that is holding together really nice. And there is my first pencil. So we're a little bit longer at the end. That I don't mind just snipping off if you need to. You can come in with a pair of scissors and just snip that off. Also, I have not tested to see like if you can sharpen this, I would like to think it'll just easily eat through that paper too. But let me show you what this looks like. Okay, so here's the pencil. Right here is the seam from the photo paper. I know that's kind of hard to see. And then the seam for the vinyl is over here, and that seam is obviously not as thick because vinyl is a lot thinner. But look how adorable that pencil looks. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the rest of them, and then I will show them all to you when I'm done. Okay, I changed my mind. Let's do one of these together that has the name on it, because we have to strategize a little bit differently to make sure the name is going to fit. So I'm going to peel that off. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to start down the front where it says like number 2. I'm going to line this up here, and I'm going to go down the front. Trying to put that on there straight is always the key. Oh boy. But that double-sided, look at how well that double-sided tape fits on there. I peeled off the yellow on the pencil. So these definitely stick on here well. And it is not easy to start in the center of the pencil. It might be easiest to do this, to just kind of lay this down flat, press that on there, and then you can start rolling up one side and then roll the other. But I am still going to just take my time, and we're doing one ridge at a time. And I'm aiming to have all of my seams kind of on the back side of the pencil where you won't notice them. So this is definitely a lot of small motor skills with your hands trying to press this in there. I tell you what, my arms are sore. Been doing a lot of crafting here lately, and after a while you really start to notice, or at least maybe it's just me that starts to notice, because after I hurt my arm, my hand coordination and hand strength has just not been the same. So this really, all this pressing on here really, I can feel it. Okay, that seems like it lined up a little bit better. There is still, like, it rolls over. I'll just press that down. Maybe we can just use that pressure of the desk, pressing down on the desk, rolling that. That kind of helps too. The name's a little big, but you can still read it on there. I think that's really cool. And then let's grab our next clear sheet. And then remember, with the clear, you want that to have a seam in a different location to just cover up the seam you were on. So if my seam's here, I'm going to try to come over just one more ridge, because I also don't want that seam to be right where on the front where the pretty things are. So just make sure that seam's in a different place. Whoops. Nope. This one's gonna have a wrinkle. Dang. Because you definitely can't lift up on that photo paper because it will eat it up. So just one ridge at a time, pressing that on there. But how cute are these? If you wanted to make just a collection, you know, if you don't do kids, maybe, I mean, this is like a super cute teacher gift. This is just, if somebody decided to give me personalized pencils, just a birthday gift, a Christmas gift, something like this, that would be cool. So just keep this in mind as a good, a unique gift giving thing. You can do this same process for pens. There are lots of videos out there that will tell you certain pens work better because you don't want to have any clips on them, which is why I did not show you pens, because it's a whole nother process to work around the little clips on there, because I personally like to clip. When I'm saying the clip, I'm talking about this little piece here. I like having that piece, especially if I was going to take pens to work. I will clip them into my front pocket. But look how cute that is. Okay, and now I've showed you 2 different pencils that we've done that with. I'm going to go through and do the rest, and then I'll show you them all when they're done. Tell me you do not love the way that these pencils turned out, okay? So check them out here. You've got our plant one, and then when you get busy and get too quick about the vinyl, I do have this kind of all goofed out, but that's okay. But there's one of the plant ones. Here's the school buses. I just think that's so super cute. I guess I should be holding them this direction so you can read them. This one's the school digital paper that I had. How cute is that? Here's the just the pattern that was in Silhouette Studio. Here's the one that we created to look like a crayon. Come on, focus in. There you go. So that really looks like a crayon on there, doesn't it? So cute with your name. That one turned out really well. Here's the polka dots. This is another one of the school themed ones that I created. Here's the other plant one. And then here's the other one that we made with our name on there. I think this one looks so cool. I'm just so pleased with how these turned out. If you like them and you want to see more kind of what you can do with pens or back to school themed projects, go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe. And then don't forget, down in the description box below, I will leave a link to where you can get the school themed digital papers and all of the supplies that I used here. Okay, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.